Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from today. Welcome to this exciting webinar, interactive session on how freestyle sports are breaking barriers for people to be active as part of everyday life and to improve youth health and well-being in cities. My name is Joe Jewell and I'm the Director of Cities for Better Health, which is a network of cities around the world driving change for health through physical activity and healthy diets. Today we're launching the first in a series of new City Health Talks, which is our webinar format for bringing together thought leaders, actionable examples, community organisations that are working together towards our shared vision of more healthy and engaging cities for everybody and working for more equitable health outcomes. Today we're taking a look at physical activity, but also youth participation in activities, and also how community organisations can drive better mental health and well-being for young people. We're joined by Copenhagen Mills Club, which is a really great example from here in Denmark around how freestyle sports can help transform the community and engage young people so that they have more exciting, active and happier lives, essentially. I've got a great mix of guests joining me here today, and we're really looking forward to an interactive conversation. So you'll be having some videos to give you inspiration, a feeling for what we're talking about, but also having lots of conversation with the guests here in the studio to get their insights as to why this is an exciting approach, what it means for the people who are involved, but also what it means for health and well-being in cities. Before we jump into the meat of the session, just a reminder that you can let us know where you're joining from in the chat so we have an idea of who is joining us from around the world, what your background is. But also please feel free to post your reflections, your comments in the chat or a question box, just so that we have time at the end to come back and answer those questions so it is also interactive from your side. But we're really excited to get into the content today. Obviously, you're joining us here for a talk about city health. So you are committed in the belief that cities are an important platform for health and well-being, and that there's a really important role for city leaders, community organisations, but also people themselves to make health part of everyday life in cities. And of course, being physically active and eating a healthy diet is a really important component of that. But we also know that these opportunities are actually opportunities to be healthy, to be active, to eat a healthy diet are not actually equally available to people. So some communities, some organisations will struggle to take advantage of those opportunities. We also know it's not just about eating a healthy diet and being physically active. There's also a sense of belonging, participating in something that is bigger than you as an individual. And we know that many young people are feeling increasingly isolated. So also this work is super important for bringing people together in a sense of community and helping them think about their future well-being, but also their future career paths, etc. So I'm really excited to discuss that with you today. We also know that childhood and adolescence is critical for health. So we'll also be talking with some of the thought leaders who are joining us today about why it's really important to work with children to make sure that children get off to a good start in life and are able to take part in activities that promote healthy behaviours. We also know that some of the biggest challenges are around physical inactivity, sedentary behaviour, and also reaching children who are not currently participating in routine, formal activity. And so some of the examples that we'll hear today from the Copenhagen Mills Club are about how to reach that part of community, those individuals, to make them feel part of something bigger than them and to want to be physically active as part of everyday life. And we'll also be understanding from them what are the lessons learnt about reaching some of the underserved communities, some disadvantaged communities, but also people who may have specific vulnerabilities such as learning difficulties or mental health conditions. So now I'm pleased to introduce my guests who are joining me in the studio today. So we have Jasper Schipperijn, who is the professor and head of the University of Southern Denmark's World Playground Research Institute, so joining us from Odense in Denmark. We also have Bonnie Madsen, who is the founder of the freestyle sports association called Mills Club that I just introduced, and we'll be learning a lot more about that. But Mills Club has an ambition and a vision to improve health equity by providing a safe and inclusive space for Copenhagen youth, and it's intended to go that extra mile in reaching underserved communities and groups. And also from Mills Club, we're also joined by Jonathan. So welcome, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us today. Jonathan is the national scooting champion who has developed his skills at Mills Club and has recently been on the world stage representing Denmark in international competitions. But we can hear firsthand from Jonathan how the Mills Club has been transformative for him and how he's working with other young people to make a difference in communities. So thank you all for being here. We really appreciate your time today. So before we go into the specific case study of Mills Club and learn a little bit more about that, which I'm really excited to do, I'm going to turn to Jasper and start with you. Based on your background as a professor of public health physical activity, could you talk to us a little bit about the science of physical activity, why it's super important for health, but also well-being and many other things? Let's start with that and see where we go.
Big question. Well, physical activity is good for both physical and mental health. Physical health is probably obvious for most people. Becoming more fit, becoming stronger, but the mental health part is probably equally as important. A lot of people feel, and they tell us that, they feel very happy after being active. So the scientific or the process that is happening there, the physiological process that's happening is that being active releases dopamine in your body, which makes you feel happy. So there is this instant happiness after you've been active, but then there is also, and I think Mills Club that we'll hear about later is a great example of that, this sort of, you're being active together with other people, you're being away from perhaps a stressful day. So the sense of doing something different, being part of something bigger, as you just said, is again one of those big benefits of being physically active.
And when we talk about physical activity, I think some people often see that as sort of like you can use the word exercise.
Yes.
And that's not the case, right?
No, not just. And I think we have a little video in a second or two showing that physical activity is much more than just sport and exercise where you have to change clothes and always get sweaty. So I think if we show that video right now, then everyone will get a good impression of what physical activity actually is.
That's a really great video from the WHO, and I think one of the things that I take away from that is, there's so many different types of physical activity. There's light, there's moderate, there's intense physical activity, and there's so many different ways in which you can incorporate physical activity into your daily routine. But we know that many people are not achieving recommended amounts of physical activity. Now I'm getting a bit technical, but there is a recommended amount of physical activity for good health, right? Could you talk a little bit about that and also perhaps give some insights also into why people may not be achieving that?
Oh, the why question, that's an important one. We'll talk more about that in a second. But yes, so for children and youth, the recommendations are 60 minutes of activity every day, and a shocking more than 80% of the world's youth are not active enough. So that's really a lot. The why? Well, that's a good question. I think partly because we are more and more sedentary, also in schools. But I think one of the things that we see happen, because that the big shift, if you look at children 7, 8, 9 years old, a lot of them are still being active. They're playing, they're doing a lot of different sports typically, but then sort of from 10, 11 years onwards, something seems to change. And we see this big difference happening in how active kids and young people still are. And I think one of the things that is happening there is that you have a group of young people that really like the traditional competitive sports and become very active. Mm. And then you have another group that is like, oh, but I don't really like that, or I don't really like to go every Tuesday and every Thursday at that time, or, oh, I was part of a great team in my local sports club, but now we are not enough to be a football team anymore, so therefore there's nothing to do. So we see that change. So part of it is about opportunities that are right there for young people. And then I think one of the things that we're also seeing there is that what young people like to do to be active, it's changing. Mm-hmm. It's not perhaps the same as when we were kids. They're different things. And then I think as adults in general, we're not good enough in listening to you guys, in figuring out what is it actually you want and how should that look. So I think that is also something where we need to do things better in future.
And behind those big figures of the 80%, is there also something going on in many countries to do with inequalities as well?
Yes. Yeah. So who has the opportunities to be active, both in sports clubs, but also who can bike to school or walk to school? It depends on where you live, who your parents are, what opportunities you have. So there are big inequalities there. It's not equal.
Good. Well, I think we'll come back to a lot of that, and we will have plenty of time in the discussion to also answer some of your questions. But we will move on now to also then get a little bit more flavour from the Mills Club about what they're doing, and then come back to a broader conversation. So first of all, again, thank you for Bonnie and Jonathan for coming from Mills Club to describe us. We look forward to hearing from you, but I think before we do that, perhaps we can move to the video which introduces Mills Club and some of its members, just so that you, the audience, also can get a little bit of a flavour of what we're talking about when we're talking about freestyle sports.
Welcome to Mills Club, a freestyle sports community in Copenhagen, Denmark, that goes beyond just physical activity. It's more than skating. It's about being part of a supportive, fun community. And kids love it.
My name is Max. I'm 15 years old. I've been in the Mills Club community for 8 years. My name is Tilde. I'm 14 years old and I've been riding for Mills about 3 years.
My name is Michelle. I'm 17. I have been in Mills for 7-8 years.
My name is Jonathan and I've been in Mills Club for around 4 to 5 years.
Hello, my name is Ida and I've been for 2.5 months.
Mills Club fosters personal growth in an inclusive environment where every child feels safe and valued, regardless of background or ability.
If I had a bad day, I can always come to the park and ride or build, and then I'm just more happy.
It's a safe spot. You can be friends with people that's 5 years older or younger than you.
I often come to the skate park also to stay fit and do something active. I like the skate park because there are always people you can help or you can get help.
Activities, skating, scooting and skateboarding welcome all skill levels.
It doesn't matter which level you have. If you're high level or low level, everybody has to accept you.
I just have fun with my friends and my colleagues and my teammates.
Historically, boy-dominated freestyle sports are opened up at Mills with innovative ways to engage more girls and ensure they feel welcome.
I know there's not many girls riding, but we have a little community with the girls who ride.
I think it's a bit of a mindset that when you come out to a skate park, then you see boys flying around. So for our scootering and for our skateboard scene, I think that 90% is boys. But if you go to roller skating, I think it's vice versa. We have our roller skate team. We have 85% girls and 15% boys.
Learning to skate or rollerblade is more than tricks. It's about building life skills like resilience, confidence and determination.
Well, that was a great video, and I think it really nicely captures some of the things that are going on down at Sporty, which is close to us here in Copenhagen. Bonnie, if I could start with you, could you just give us a little bit background to your motivation for starting the Mills Club?
Yeah, I used to do high-level sport myself. I used to be a soccer player, and 20 years ago I started a skate shop with my brother. And then a lot of young people came in and say, we don't have anything to do. We have scooter, skateboard, whatever, but there's no clubs like football. And they say, you have to do something. And I say, okay. And then, we started up. So they came up with the idea and I took action. And then small, we started to found a club. And 10 years ago, we started the club officially. And in the beginning, we didn't have any space to go, so we started on the street. So we met up in a skate park in the morning before a lot of people came, and then to another skate park. And then suddenly we find out to do some trips. So we went to Germany and Switzerland and to the rest of the country in Denmark. And we rented a skate park after opening hours. And then, then the club started working like that. And 1.5 years ago, we got offered to a space in Sporty, and we bought some old ramps, and we had small ramps, and then the kids say, yeah, let's get some more. So I think basically it's normally you say you have some idea, then you take action. But the kids we have in Mills Club, they take action, and then the idea forms afterwards. So, and I think the most important is that from when they have an idea or they want to do something, then we need immediately to take action. And the board in Mills Club, they always support. They say, okay, let's do it, and they want to do it, and we say, okay, let's try. And so I think we have one of the best skate parks in Denmark right now, and they build them themselves, the kids. So
yeah, I'm excited to learn a little bit more about how the kids build it themselves.
Yeah.
But before we move to that, could I ask you a follow-up question, which is I think touched upon a little bit in the video about inclusivity, and could you? I get the impression that that's very important to Mills Club, that it is a safe space, I think is the word that you use in the video, but inclusive. So how do you actually ensure that the club is a safe space, that it's adapted for different needs, and that people of different backgrounds feel welcome and included in?
I think the most important thing for me is that the people behind it, so our board and the adults who's there in every day, they are people that you can go to. So you have a problem at home or school or in the skate park, or you have some skills you can't do, then you can come to them. So we built up a bar, so everything is very cheap. Our fee is very cheap. It's 500 crowns for a year, and you can come every day. And if you want to buy a soda or water or toast, it's also very cheap. It's around 10 crowns. So we want people to come to the bar. And behind the bar, there's some really nice adults. So you can always get in contact with some adults. If there's somebody trying to bully you or something like that, you can always come to. So it's a safe space to come. And a lot of people, when they come, they say, like the girls, they say, we would like to have our own team because we don't want to do competition, or we just want to enjoy ourselves and we want to learn and be better. And we say, okay, yeah, let's do it. Or they say, we would like to have a competition, a big competition, then we do it. So we try to follow up on all the ideas the kids have. And they are like the founder of everything we do. So if they want to, I say, it's enough. We have 10 ramps, and Jonathan said, yeah, we have 10 ramps, but we need to have more and higher ramps. So then we say, okay, and let's see how we can do it. So I think the club is based on the kids' ideas, and we try to follow up on it, and
Just deviating a little bit from the program, but I mean, I think one of the points that was highlighted in the videos and articulated by the girls themselves is that, you know, they want to skate. There aren't so many of them, but they feel very welcome in this context. And you've, I think, talked about a little some of the adjustments that are maybe needed. Their own team, maybe not the competitive element isn't of interest to them. Jasper, could you put a few words to sort of girls' participation in physical activity, sports, and is that something that is seen across countries as well?
It is, and you see that same tendency, you see that in all sorts of sports, and I think the way you're approaching it is what we know from a lot of studies works, is to listen and to figure out, okay, well, what is it then that we need to do? Yeah. And I think that listening part is probably, especially with young people, is the part that we often don't do well enough. So I think that's good strategy.
If I could ask you one more question as well, because I think there may be people, what is inspiring about Mills Club is that it seems to be very grassroots, very community, or responding to requests from the community, and you're able to grow with time and welcome more members. I think you said before we started that you now have 573. Yeah. Congratulations, that's great. And there's probably people from small organizations or communities around the world listening in. How do you move from an idea, a request, starting something to actually becoming a little bit bigger, and where do you go to for support?
I think the most support we had from until last year, it was from our members and their parents. Mm-hmm. So we were most based on voluntary, and we also know that our voluntary is there when the kids are there. Mm-hmm. And my daughter used to go to basketball, and I always join for volunteer. But suddenly they say you also have to be a referee. So I have to sit. I come to see my kid. Mm-hmm. So I said, when we do things for voluntary, they have to do it with their kids. So I cannot place a person in the bar when the kids are maybe doing competition or they are training, if they want to look at the training. So all our volunteers when they want to and if they want to. So I think that's sometimes we have a lot of voluntary but we also know when the kids doesn't do sport anymore or not so active, then we also, and when they grow up, the parents small it's not coming that much anymore. So
yeah, okay. Some really nice lessons. But Jonathan, I'll now turn to you. Thanks so much for coming in. I think it's the first time in this studio that I've had a younger person join, and I think it's actually great because I think actually you're able to say, as you said, Jasper, what you want and why you joined in the first place. So let's start with that question. Why did you join Mills Club?
I started joining the club because it was fun. I saw a lot of kids being there and having fun, and I thought I want to have fun too. So I got to the skate park and rode with everybody. But I saw there was a special community with the Mills Club, and there was teaching, and everybody was like kind of more friendly and more friends because they got to know each other way easier. Yeah. Yeah,
okay. And so how long have you been with Mills Club?
I've been in Mills Club for around 5 years. Okay. So right when I started scootering, I found out that there was a club. Yeah. And then I joined it because it looks so fun. And how often do you go? I go almost every day, so I go to stay fit, so I don't need to do anything else for me because I'm like 5 hours every day training and riding. So yeah. And so, could you speak about some of the things that are important to you? So you mentioned that for you it's interesting to go because it's a way of doing fun physical activity. You keep fit. Are there other motivating things for you? Other reasons that you go? Friends, I guess? Yeah, to get more friends, just to learn how to be social with everyone, and also to have fun and stay fit. Yeah. And how, if I may ask, how common is sort of Jonathan's story? Is this a sort of very typical sort of we have experience? Jonathan and Max, who built all the ramps, they're a little bit high level because they went to all the courses. We also managed to do some official courses, so they are official international ref. They are coaches, international coach, so they have the timber, and they join all competition. And they build the ramps, and they also teach kids how to stay in the park and also how to get better in their skills. So they are like high level. But when they're working there, they have other people who seek them, and they do the same. So maybe not so many building the skate park as they do, but we have a lot of members who are active like they are, just not in the building part as well. So. And how long do people tend to stay members? Or are they sort of like once a member, always a member of Mills Club? Yeah, we have members who's been there since we started. It's almost 10 years ago,
And normally we see kids when they're 7th grade, 8th grade, they will stop doing sport. But then they start being coaches, or they start being, they have their own friends they come with, or they say, okay, we come and help you building the skate parks. So we try to first they are voluntary, and then they get coaches. So they get, instead of going to Netto or supermarket to work, they start working in the club. So they get paid by teaching other kids. So there's a lot of people who want to be a coach, so they are looking up to them. They say, oh, you can be a coach, I want to be a coach as well. So
could I ask you, Jasper, in terms of how this, I mean, academia you're in academia, but also there is a real world out there, right? And I think one of your parts of your job is to connect the sort of what the science says, what the research says with reality. And obviously this is a very clear story of how a community organization can help promote youth activity, freestyle sporting, etc., and also create a community space where people can gather. How does this reflect, how does this tie in with some of the insights you're seeing in your research? Anything around how this is addressing the barriers to physical activity that we've discussed a little bit?
Yeah, I think it is addressing a lot of the barriers, because we see, as you were also saying, we see that change in how kids are being active, but we especially see this, we'd like to do something, but the opportunities are not there. So where do you go? You might have kids buying the equipment to go rolling or skating, but where do they go? And then how do they learn? Where do you go to learn how to skate? I mean, before, and quite seriously, did you know before you knew Mills Club? Probably not.
No, I just saw somebody else riding and tried to copy it.
Yeah.
And now I have someone teaching me.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that whole process of figuring out, okay, this is something that kids want, and then building up, listening, saying, okay, well, how do we offer small jobs so that we keep some of the older kids that perhaps don't ride or skate as actively anymore, but how do we keep them engaged by having trade? So a lot of the examples we also, and this might be surprising, but that we also see as being very successful in elite sports, of examples of what works, is, for example, to have this very, very mixed group of, okay, you might have a 5-year-old being active together with someone who participate or has participated in championships. So that you have this cross-generational learning. That is one of those things that we know, also from elite sports, really makes a difference. You probably, or you might have known that in your background, but a lot of people probably don't realize, but you're doing it.
Yeah. And I also think that in Denmark, it's like when you are a sports club, it's like we have to go out to a lot of people, and a lot of people is a little bit afraid of elite, but we see it as the elite. There's no ground route if you don't have the elite, and vice versa. So he's elite. So when he go competition in Spain, everybody says, "Oh, now Jonathan is back," or he came number 7 in the world, or whatever. Then I think when you have somebody to look up at, then you also want to do it. And you can see he comes down and train you, and he say, okay, just put your foot a little bit more backward. Then you succeed with the trick just by somebody who tell you how to stand on your skateboard or scooter or whatever. So I think it's very important that you also have elite. But it's not only the elite, it's also the small ones.
Space for all.
Yeah, it sounds like you've created a community space that is very welcoming for people of all different abilities, capabilities, and ages. Before we started today, we were discussing about the age limit, and I understand that it is 6, right? Yeah. So I can't send my young daughter there yet, but we'll get her down there soon. But this brings us nicely to the next film, which is also showing about how, as I've understood it, Mills Club is, a place where people can be active, do sport, but at the same time also learn important life skills, develop some tricks themselves into how to build things and make things. So let's watch the video, and then we can have a little bit of a discussion about how, in addition to skating, this is about giving people life skills and helping them to actually build the space that they want themselves for, to be active and be with their friends. So over to the next video.
Mills Club opens a door to developing life skills that reach beyond the skate park. Young members learn social skills such as conflict resolution, teamwork, and leadership. When the club moved into a new space, opportunities to learn practical skills emerged. In fact, Max and Jonathan saw a chance to build the perfect skate park.
Yeah, I started building ramps when we got here, when we got the room.
In the beginning, we have to build the floor, so I have learned by some guy named Simon. He was just here to apparently to help with building the skate park. It was going pretty slow because he was like only one person, and I thought he could use some help, and he taught me how to cut the wood and how to drill in the wood and how to like make sure everything is stable.
So I think it's nice, but they also have to learn that they need help, because now they build a skate park, 1,000 square meter skate parks, and I think they build 85% of it. Their heads are spinning around with building ramps, and every time they travel a lot, so every time they see a ramp in England or Holland, whatever, they come back and they want to build a ramp.
They are eager to share what they've learnt and are teaching their friends.
I learned like building ramps by Max and Jonathan. They involved me and was very nice and was learning me how to do this and that and all that stuff. And now like maybe once a week or when I have time, sometimes I help.
Mills Club shows how granting ownership and responsibility can empower urban youth and build community. The skills and confidence gained through the club help prepare children for a brighter future, equipping them with the tools they need to succeed.
That's pretty impressive. I'm terrible at DIY, so I'm not going to be building a skate ramp anytime soon. But I could come down to Mills and learn how to do one. So is that what I've taken away from that video? But perhaps, Jonathan, you could tell us about, first of all, what you're building and maybe what the difference is between different ramps, so that people who don't know how to skate understand the difference between
We are building a skate park particularly for scootering or also rollerblading. Not as much for skateboarding, because they use like a little bit different ramps than we are building. So it's more used for scootering. But there is a lot of different ramps. We have big ramps and small ramps, so when you're a beginner you can start on the small ramp, and then we have a really steep ramp, so when you go down it you almost go vertical down and it's quite scary. And we have some really large ramp, like 4 meters high, that is hard to drop in on, but we have almost every ramp.
So you're always, when you're traveling, you're getting inspiration for like what could be a more exciting ramp to use.
Yeah, I was in England like last winter, and I just saw all the biggest ramp and got back home and like thought everything was too small. So we started building everything like 10 times bigger.
Yeah, as the video was playing, Bonnie was saying, no more travel, no more inspiration, we've got enough ramps. But I'm sure she's partly joking. But what would you say, like, from the experience of building the ramps, like what have you learned from it? What skills do you think you've developed from it?
I have learned a lot from it, because I had learned how to work together with someone and how to plan everything, and like the situation where it's hard and you don't know what to do or something is wrong, you need to find a solution for it. And I have learned a lot from that too, so I can use it like when I get older and getting a like real job. So I'm already knew how to like solve a situation that's not good. Yeah.
And how is it like, I mean, you mentioned a little bit about the future and when you get a real job, but how has it influenced your ambitions for the future of this?
I have really think that I could do more than I actually thought I could. So like, maybe you think you only can do this much, but you can actually do way more.
Yeah, great. And Bonnie, like from your perspective, like having children rolling up their sleeves or young people rolling up their sleeves and doing this type of practical work, I mean, what do you see that they're getting out of it from your perspective? And I assume it's a little chaotic, but...
I think they became, from this process, they are small men.
Yeah.
They come when we have a problem. They say, Bonnie, we have to go to a meeting. So they call me for a meeting, or they come and say, we need this ramp. I always say no more ramps. And then they have a tactical. So after 10 minutes, I say, okay, let's do it. But I see a lot of people now. If we speak about Max and Jonathan, who built the ramps, they are like they could be project manager. Mm-hmm. They know how to do a process. We want to build this ramp, and before they were like they have an idea. So now they are involving people. The kids they make some marks. How deep is this ramp going to be? How do you want the angle? And I hear the small kids, even new beginners, they say, no, we don't have it to take it too easy because we know in 1 week we can write all the ramps. So they vote what kind of ramps they want. So they also start processing where they open up for everybody to vote for what kind of ramps do we want to. Mm-hmm. I see they grow a lot from how they are building and especially how to solve a problem. We got a big problem 2 weeks ago and we have the big championship coming in, and the things I ordered was 2 meters too small. And it was really, they've been working every day for 3 weeks on that ramp, and suddenly it was all chaos. And then they was just sitting 1 hour talking, and then they solved the problem. Yeah. So I think and we have parents who was carpenter, everybody say when they're ready, they have to go to our company. So I think if he wants, he can go out and do a big job tomorrow. And I think the world is in front of him. They can do what they want, because not only doing carpenter, just managing. We have all the parents who is already carpenter or blacksmith or something like that. They tell them what to do, and the parents is just standing. Okay, we do like this. So I think the world is in front of them, and they can do what they want. Yeah. Not only if they want to be something carpenter or whatever. They can do whatever they want to.
Yeah, sounds like an incredible experience and a great opportunity that you've had. How does this chime in also, Jasper, with what we know about active play, physical activity, and how did that combine with practical skills along the personal development journey?
I think especially for this age group, the whole of co-creation or co-design, as we call it. I don't know if you call it that, but that's when we create projects, we always, for this age group, we try to do this. I don't think we're as successful as you are, and one of the reasons why we try to do this is exactly what you're saying. It's this sense of ownership. It is the accomplishment. You can do it, but then also, and I'm not sure if that's the same for you, after you've done it, I mean, do you ever have problems with vandalism or things being ruined by kids coming? Does that happen?
It happened a little in the beginning, but they saw we built the ramp and we was like using a month to build it, and then respect that we used all that time.
Exactly.
If they are going to destroy it, they can build them themselves.
Exactly. So that whole process is one of the things we see and we actively try to do in projects, and especially from sort of 10, 11 and up, that age group there, this seems to be the tool that helps make projects successful. So involving as much as possible. So from the ideas to the decisions to the actual building. The more you can do, the better it seems to work. At least that's what our projects tells us.
And we also try to make that project process as short as possible, because when they have an idea, you have to work on it immediately, because otherwise it takes too long time before, and then if nothing happens, then they also lose the interest. Yeah. So.
Super. I'm just going to put a reminder to the audience who are participating that you do have an opportunity also to put your own questions in, so write them in the chat and then you can join the conversation with us. But coming back to you, Bonnie, what I also saw in the video was that some of the girls were interested in learning the woodwork, of course, and getting involved. Maybe not everybody, boys or girls, young adolescents, are interested in woodwork. Are there other things that you offer in that setting beyond just the scooting and skating that is also about sort of like development, learning skills, and yeah?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Are there other things beyond woodwork in this place where people could develop some skills that you see?
Beside the activities in the schooling, I don't know what to answer for that.
Like teach. Like
Okay,
exactly.
sorry. I was. We have a lot of people who want to be coaches. So we are going to have in 2 weeks after the holiday, we're going to have a big coaching day. So we already have some who is following Jonathan when he's coaching, or following somebody else. So we start having our own course. And when they finish it takes around 3 months. Then they go to the real course, and then they become coaches. And we have a lot of people, and we have 20 people more coming up for the ref, because we do a lot of competition. We start doing a lot of competition, but then because we have a high level riders, then we need to contact people from outside of Denmark, and they're always in competition. So we can't do a competition if we don't have referee.
Yeah.
So we had to make our own referee. So we start building up the real course. So we can do like this competition. We have the highest level referees that you can have in Denmark or England. So we have our own. So we can do our own competition. So it's also important that we can keep on the food chain. So do competition and learning skills and.
Great. And sorry, I sometimes ask very long-winded questions that go on and on.
Sorry, that's
I've been told off for it before, so don't worry, it's not you, it's me. Jonathan, like one of the things that we mentioned was around representing Denmark internationally. That sounds super exciting. Could you put a few words to how it felt to do it and what you bring back?
It was so awesome to go out in a different country and ride with your mates from all around the world. You only have text with them on your phone and just know them through a screen, and then really meeting them and competing with them with a Danish flag on your side, and know that everybody is watching back home, all your friends and family. Yeah, that was just something else.
And how could you give us an example of how the Mills community supported you when you're going for these competitions?
They like help me to get out there sometimes. And
this competition in Barcelona was really tight. There's not many people who can join, so we were texting all the time. The lessons. Before, all our lessons was like in football, every 2 hours every time. But after 10 minutes, you see people riding. So we cut all our lessons down to 45 minutes, and you can come to the skate park and don't do the lessons. But sometimes you see your friends, they are moving very fast because they do the lessons. Then you come back and do the lessons. And we do it like on the street. You can go to lesson or don't go to lesson. And I think it's a very good way in holding people to the club, that you can just come there to enjoy yourself with your friends and ride, but you can also go to the lessons if you want to.
Super. One thing I think is, going back to what we were talking about early, is that Mills Club is inclusive, and it is a safe space. How do you see, Jasper, sort of like the importance of these places being inclusive? And also, I mean, we know, given the inequalities, inequities in physical activity, how can we make sure that other places take the same spirit of Mills?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do we copy your model? We need some people that want to do this. I think that's for sure. But copying would actually be a good idea, because I think it is one of those areas where we see in Denmark, but I think in many countries, we see a lot of the sort of the traditional sports club, they're struggling a bit, figuring out, okay, what to do. And I think one of the reasons is because I think, not 100% sure I know, but I think is because they're not always listening. They're not offering the flexibility that you, by the sounds of it, are offering, or the shorter training, and trying to figure out, okay, well, our members are disappearing when they're 14. Why? Do we offer the right thing? So I think some of those lessons are quite universal to try also for all sorts of other sports clubs or organizations. Try to figure out, talk to the younger members, figure it out. What is it? And if they don't come because what you're offering is not what they want, well, offer something else. Ask them to help. Offer that.
And I think it's very easy to copy. If you look at football, they lose a lot of members when they are like 8, 9 grade. But they have the football field. They also have the people. You can just open up a field and give them balls because they don't want to go train the training they've been since they were 5 years, but they want still to play football. Maybe not every Tuesday and Thursday, but if you open up the field and have some balls and say we do a game just who comes like when we did when we were kids, you go down. But if you make the the boxes for how to do it, then I think they will come.
Yeah. Jonathan, do you have any reflections about that as well as a young person as well? Like, how do you make a space inclusive for different types of people?
Like for me, it's especially good that you doesn't have to be anywhere like at 9 o'clock every time, every day. But I can choose myself if I want to go to a skate park in the close to me, or go an hour away to a different park, or just train with my friends, or do whatever I want. But if I need to get to the course and play football every time, every day, I would much easier get bored of it because it's more likely to be the same. But here I can like take a different approach at it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And we spoke a little bit before that you also offer for people with some learning difficulties or special needs are able to use the space at certain times. Could you talk a little bit about that, how you're also making Mills Club available for different groups?
Yeah, I think we are lucky to have a fantastic space, and but all the kids are going to school, so the skate park is also open with no people inside of it. So we reach out for some schools. We co-work with 3 schools that come around 1 o'clock to 3, 4 o'clock. And then we talk with some special school with people who has ADHD or autism or something like that. They can't take so much noise, or they go to small schools, so they come in the morning where there's nobody in the skate park. And we are reaching out to some kindergarten so they can use the space in the morning. So we would like that Mills Club is like from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening, or 11 o'clock in the evening, that it's open for different kind of people and different kind of needs. So.
Super. There's a question that's come in congratulating you on the amazing example, inspiring case study. Also just asking, are there sometimes challenges in responding to what members ask for, want? Is it maybe money, materials, or, do you face any dilemmas within the club? Yeah,
we faced that first of all, we didn't have any space to go. So in the summertime, we had a lot of members, and when it's raining, we have to cancel our training. Right now, we are lucky that we are in Sporti, but it's only for a short period, so maybe in 1 year we have to be out. We hope they're very delayed in the commune to build houses there. But I think the Copenhagen commune have been very supportive. We do a lot of things for people from Ukraine and in different areas in Copenhagen where they don't have that much money, or we see people who don't go to sport. So often we ask to go there. So we are very much out to reach out for people, and that's why also the commune support us a lot with our fees and for the wood that they want to build ramps. So we are lucky with that one. We use a lot of time because all of us in the board, we are We are voluntary, so beside our jobs, we need to make a place work, and we need to get some funding, and we need to. Our problem is that we do a very good job. Mm-hmm. We do a really good job, but he knows, and his friends knows. But you didn't know before you met us. So our problem is that it's only people who I talk to you talk to me here, mm-hmm. and the schools we try to get in. But our problem is that we're not good enough to go abroad to mm-hmm. to sell our story, because mm-hmm. it's a very fantastic story and it's very easy to copy. Yeah. So and we have a lot of ideas, and the kids have a lot of ideas, and sometimes I can't manage today. I say we always throw a lot of balls up, but we never let them fall. They hang. So if a kid have a good project or idea, maybe I can't do it today, but then tomorrow I take the ball and then we make it happen.
Yeah. Some nice comments also coming in about you, Jonathan, being a role model, and how do you use your sort of position, your influence, I guess, that you have as being a successful competitive athlete in the Mills Club community to inspire others, to encourage others to join? Do you have any sort of things that you like to do to make people feel welcome?
Yeah, I especially just like to show what I can, so they get inspired to do the same. So mm-hmm. if I do like a cool trick, they might want to do the same and how to learn the trick, and then I can just show that we have this club and you can go here and learn something by yourself, or just like some techniques that you can use by yourself when you are not in the club. Nice.
One thing that we haven't talked about so much, we've focused quite a lot here on the sort of the community organisation and thing, but obviously we have this is a city health talk, and this is taking place in a city, but cities are designed in a certain way. Some cities can be designed in a way that invites people to be physically active. Some cities can be designed in a way that doesn't invite people. So Jasper, could you put some words onto like how urban design and urban spaces can have an influence on physical activity?
Well, for youth, I think having the right facilities there and available, because if Mills would have not been close to where you lived, you probably wouldn't have used it. So, and even though now you can go to other places, so having facilities that are there, that are accessible, that people know about, is important, and then that you can get to them, so that it's easy to bike there or take public transport is another big one when we look at physical activity. I guess the worst example is sort of the other side of the coin, is the very classic North American style city where you have to drive everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, if there is one thing that is not good for youth and activity, is if you have cities where everyone has to drive everywhere, because that's so that you can go there independently when you're 12, 13, 14, and that there are facilities that work. Mm-hmm. And then what you were saying earlier, Bonnie, about how you try to make them open as many hours as possible during the day. That's again one of those things as a city, if you're supporting an organization and a facility, that is what you really want. Because the worst thing is putting money into something that is only open 4 hours a day.
Yeah, so. And we also, when we started, we try to be there where the kids are. So we were also in the city. There's some spots, we call it skateboard spots. So we did lessons there. Israels Plads. We did Charlotten. Some spots in Copenhagen where they did something where you can skate on. So we had lessons on Monday there. We have a new skate park. In Frederiksberg is very small, but then we do it, and then people from the houses came down, and then they say, "Oh, nice community. We will also want to go to Tornby. We also want." So in our app, you can see where the skate park is, so you can join. Today, I do at home, but Tuesday, we're in Tornby or somewhere else. Then you can look at the app and join where you want to.
Yeah, that's. If I may, of course. That's a great example, I think, of one of those things that we find a lot in our studies, that building the facility alone is often not enough. Yeah. So, especially if it's quite a specialized thing that you don't learn in school. I mean, you don't learn to scoot in school. No. So then you have to organize something, and sometimes it doesn't need to be very often at the location to get things going. So that's a great combination as well.
I think finally, also we're looking for people asking questions saying if there was one piece of advice that you would give to try and copy or replicate people who are inspired to set up something like Mills, what would be your one piece of advice? Bonnie, and then maybe also Jonathan, you can say your advice to young people who want to get involved maybe, but who wants to start?
I would just say that everybody could get into the sport or the club or what you're going to start up. So there is space for everybody, even though you are 19 years old or 5 years old, or you have autism or something. You need to make a way that there is space for everybody.
Very nice.
I think to copy it, you need somebody who wants to do it. Yeah. The first thing is a person, and before, if I said, now I don't want to do it anymore, there was no Mills Club. I started this project 12 years ago, and until 4 years ago, I worked with the Copenhagen Kommune, and I worked with a girl called Tanya, and we really worked good together, and I said, you have a lot of spare time, can you use some of your spare time in Mills Club? So she do all, I like to be on the floor, and she likes to do everything on the computer. So we divided. So I take everything on the floor, and she take everything on the paper. And she doesn't come out at Mills Club because she likes to sit on the computer, and she do everything I don't like to do, and she's really good at it. And then we have 2 parents. The kid's been for 5 years in the club, and we work very good together. So now we have a good board. So if I for my own job have a lot of work, then I can withdraw, because then I know there's somebody else taking over. Yeah. So it's important to have a board who can stand by each other. So if one has a lot of things to do in their private life, then somebody else takes over. Yeah. So it's a Mills Club is not only me and the kids. It's a big communication. People communicate, and a big group of people who wants the best for the club. So I think if you don't have that, then it's difficult to copy anything, because you need somebody to take the lead.
Very good advice there, very concrete advice. And I think it's been amazing to have conversation with you all today about this inspiring case, but also how it links into the sort of wider physical activity and well-being agenda. So before we wrap up today, we're coming to the end of the session. We do actually have an action case that describes the Mills Club approach and how you may be inspired to replicate it in your own context. So you can go to citiesforbetterhealth.com and download the case by looking at our action case studies. Of course, you'll recognise some of our guests from those case studies, and we really appreciate them working with us to develop that. And there are activation guide sections with practical insights from the Mills Club. As always, we really encourage you to engage with us, to share links, to distribute all the resources that we have available, but also send us your feedback, what you want more of, what you want to learn about at the next session, because this is something that we'll be doing on a regular basis moving forward, always with the intention to share practical examples and how that actually links to the sort of wider agenda. That is all we have time for today, so thanks to Bonnie, Jonathan and Jasper for joining us. Really nice to be in conversation with you. I've learned a lot. I've been inspired, and I think it also shows how organisations like Mills Club can really make a difference in the community to also help people be physically active, social, but also learn and develop as individuals, which is really important. Please take away the insights, share them, and come back and join us at the next City Health Talk that we will be hosting soon. Look forward to see you again and stay in contact. Thank you.